Not audible, sir. Not audible.
Hello, is it audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes. Good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Stuart Close philosophy, and we're discussing the practical part, that is the examination of the patient from Stuart Close. While discussing the Stuart Close aspect of examination of the patient, he tried his level best to make it more and more practical and more details about it over there. Whatever the points Hanuman have explained right from aphorism number 83 onwards to the 104, all points he has elaborated over there with his own aspect, and that's why it becomes more interesting for us as actually what to do and what not to do during the case taking. All points he is explaining over there. Yesterday we have learned many aspects of it. So one should not go for the leading questions, how one should be a good listener, one should not interrupt the patient, and if he is going away from the subject, then you have to stop him from that. Every sentence, every symptom should be written on new line. There should be a space kept for the further division. How the subjective symptoms are more important than the objectives. Concentrate on subjectives than the objectives. All every minute detail. Then how the physician should be, how he should be confident enough, how he the how what should be his demeanor. All aspect he tried to explain in order to develop your own concept of case taking. So we were on page number 173 and we have finished the first two paragraphs over there, and we have started with the second paragraph, and what he has suggested over there. It is well to practice on simple cases first in order to become familiar with the technique, and hard cases will come soon enough, and try our skill and patience to uttermost. And this is what we have discussed last lecture, that many times it happens we get simple cases. If we are handled those cases properly, automatically our practice starts building with the difficult cases in, and those difficult cases are very useful in our day-to-day practice. The suggested classification of symptoms into general, particular, and common symptoms is applicable to difficult as well as simple cases, to chronic as well as acute disease. The general plan can be modified and adapted in various ways, but the principles lies underlying it are always the same. So whether you are treating acute or chronic, the principles, the way, the method, everything remains to be the same, and that's why if one is thorough with the technique, he will going to follow those. This is what we have discussed yesterday. Let us start with new paragraph. The form of examination and the direction it takes should conform to the classification of symptoms adopted, and one may well have the blanks printed to use as a guide and reminder. So what Hahnemann have suggested and even Stuart Close tried to explain over there, what should have a good form of a case taking. The format should be there. If the format is there, even though you are a newcomer, you will not never miss a point. And that's why printed case paper is the best way of taking the case. So it is not that you should go manually or you should go with the according to the printed form, but you cannot miss because of that. The way patient starts, you can write it down in proper place. It is not needed that it should be in a sequence, but at the end, when the patient stops explaining himself, then it is your duty to find it out, the fill in the blanks, and then you ask precisely regarding that, so that you get all the information and you never forget to ask anything. Because ultimately, this totality will be useful for you for the case taking, for the selection of remedy, and for that purpose, one should not miss anything in the case. If you're going to get such types of things, that will help you in practice. And this thing he is explaining over there, that you should have a printed form, and that printed form should be good enough, concise enough, so that it will After just a glance reading, you can find it out. Yes, this might be a remedy or this might be totality. Hahnemann devotes 22 paragraphs in the Organon to the subject of examination of the patient, that is from paragraphs 83 to 105. Yes, this is the truth. If you read those aphorisms along with footnotes, you will understand how minute details the Hahnemann have explained regarding the case taking. Specifically, those points are related with the chronic case taking, not with the acute case taking. But how those points are very much essential in the case taking. In the footnotes to these paragraphs, he gives many suggestions and special directions for conducting an examinations. And this is the reality. Those who have not yet read the organ of medicine specifically, it happens because the organon is the subject which has been not taught properly in the classes. If you would have not read, my suggestion is that open the sixth edition, start reading from this paragraph 82 to 105 along with footnote. And I will suggest that on YouTube, now we have taken all those aphorisms right from 1 to 291. Find it out those paragraphs. Just go through that. Practical explanation of each of them you will going to get over there, so that you will understand more practical case taking over there. Because Hahnemann he tried his level best to explain in the aphorisms as well as in the footnotes the all the points, how one should ask the question, how one should form the question, everything he has written over there. They teach, among other things, how properly to frame our questions. Very important. It has been written in italics by the Close, and this is the very important. How to frame a question. Framing a question gives you a details about the patient. If you frame it properly, instead of asking what's your problem, you ask it in detail. Tell me regarding your problem right from the start till today. If you ask it properly, then you can get the answer in a proper sense. Then you can treat very clearly to the patient, so that it becomes simple thing that you can treat and you can find it out totality and you get that totality. If question is not properly formed, the problem arises, and that's why framing the question is the big thing when one must not forget. And that this is what he is explaining over there, that framing a question is most important task in the homeopathy. Second thing he explains over there, it is not expected that one will ask every patient all the questions which Hahnemann gives in these important footnotes, but that we shall select and apply as we are upon particular case in hand. So he has given many examples of questions. It is not our duty to select those questions and put it in front of patient. No, you logically correlate in the patient who is sitting in front of you what is important, what one should ask. So it is not a mechanical case taking. The case taking should be more logical according to the case. And that's why in some cases case taking might end with the 10 minutes. In some cases it might require 1.5 hours. It varies from individual to individual. Only thing is that to get familiar with the questions, Hahnemann have included many varieties of questions, how one can form the questions over there. They are for general guidance in the art of questioning. See, this is what he is explaining. This is, you have to develop your own art, and they are for the guide. They are nothing but the guide to form your own questions in the cases. There is a point in paragraph 83 that deserves special attention for few moments. Hahnemann says the individualizing examination of the case of the disease demands of the physician nothing but these are the 4 points which already I have explained to you yesterday. The number one is freedom from prejudice. Number two, sound senses. Number three, attention in observing. And number four, fidelity in tracing the picture of disease. These are the four points one very important as a qualities of homeopathic physicians for taking a chronic case. So first important thing, freedom from prejudice, most difficult task of the human life. Why difficult? Because we are born with memory. We are born with logical mind, and that's why our mind, whenever we think similar thing, immediately our mind goes to the past, finds it out of memory, and starts analyzing the things. And this happens very commonly in our day-to-day practice. That we our mind goes behind and immediately catches that same thing and starts comparing. This is human mind, and to come out of this is very difficult. Ken Rajan Shankaran sir always says that if you are idiot, then it becomes simple task. So being an idiot, you forget everything you find it as a new, and then it becomes simple task. But to become idiot is not a is not a simple task. We have to look towards each and every patient as a new patient, not comparing to the past cases treated by you. Then it becomes really a simple case. So first is freedom from prejudice. Second is sound senses. Out of five, the four senses should be very sound. The eye, observation; ears, the hearing; nose, the smell; and touch of the skin. And all are important when dealing with the patient. You can grasp many things with the help of that. You observe many things, how the patient enters in your clinic, how he sits, how he starts talking, communicating, what he's in which tone he is talking, what how aggressive he is, how confident he is. These are things of perceiving through the eyes, perceiving through the ears. Sometimes some sting comes, sometimes some offensive smell comes. That is very important for you to catch, because in our Mater Medica, we have remedies which are expressed in such specific manner. So smell is also important. The fourth point which he has explained over there, fidelity in tracing the picture of disease. Fidelity means as it is, tanto tantapana. So you have to find it out, each and every word over there which has a meaning. Without prejudice, he has written it in exclamatory mark. It's really, that is exclamatory, because without prejudice, said quickly, it sounds simple, easy, almost trite. It is a bitter dose to swallow. Nevertheless, when we stop to explore the depth of our own minds, in this respect, it is like an old-fashioned bowl of boneset tea I had to swallow semi-annually in the spring and fall when I was country boy in Wisconsin. Hot and well sweetened it was, to be sure, but bitter. Bitter was no name for it. I can still hear mother say, "Now shut your eyes and son, and swallow it quickly. Then you won't taste it much." Sounds easy, but try it. She has compared it in a very specific manner. That it's too looks too simple to become unprejudiced. No, most difficult task of the human life is to become an unprejudiced, because we have intellect, we have intellect, we have logic, we have many things gifted to us. We have the emotions, we have understanding, we have will, we have memory, and all those things connect together and starts comparing. The intellect is the faculty of brain that always, with the help of memory and logic, comes to the deduction. So whenever we go to some new place, immediately our old memory comes in front of our mind. We start comparing. If we go to Matheran after Mahabaleshwar, we start comparing. What is the difference? This is what happens, because human mind is like that. And to come out of this is most difficult task. And that's why he is saying over there, it's It looks very easy, but try it. It is very difficult, and that's a reality. Even after 32 years of my practice, 32, 33 years of my practice, I feel it is quite difficult to come out and become an unprejudiced. Day by day, I'm trying my level best to become unprejudiced. But still, it is not so simple task. And that's what he's explaining over there. The first point, that is without prejudice, is the most difficult part of it that you have to develop. Who of us is without prejudice? See what he says. Who of us is without prejudice? The prejudice of the materialistic mind, of pathological theories, which seems too often to be antagonistic to the homeopathic principle, of doubt as to use the single remedy or of use of any medicine at all, the prejudice of a constitutional aversion to her. Many of us are born tired. We don't have like to her. Laziness, selfishness, and easy concerns are responsible for more homeopathic sins and shortcomings than anything else. For good homeopathic prescribing means well. So, see, very important thing which he is explaining over there, that he says, who is not prejudiced? Everyone is prejudiced. Every moment we are prejudiced because our logical mind starts working immediately. So this is too difficult to become unprejudiced. Most important thing in homeopathic prescription is you have to work hard for that. You have to look towards each and every patient. You have to write down each and every detail. You have to catch each and every point. And then, according to it, we have to find it out, the totality, then the analysis, then the PDF, then evaluation, analysis, evaluation, repertorization, totality, and PDF, and then with the help of result of repertorization, PDF, and coming to the right conclusion. This is the hard work, but this one has to do. If you want to come out of prejudiced mind, this is the only method which you can use, with which you can approach. So this is what he is explaining over there, that it is a most important specific work which one has to follow. Then it is possible to go ahead. These are our most worst enemies and worst enemies of homeopathy. What he has explained over there, which are enemies? Tiredness, laziness, selfishness, easy concerns, and these happen. Generally, these are the things which happens. Everyone wants shortcuts, even in case taking shortcuts, prescribing on single characteristic shortcut, and then failures. This is the problem. We used to we are in so much hurry that we want to finish more OPD in the specific time. No, it is not possible. Specifically, when you deal with chronic cases, it's not possible. You have to give the time to the chronic cases. You have to understand. You have to do hard work. You have to go with all the methods. If it is, if you are doing, then success is there. Without that, success will not be there. In order to achieve the success, this is the only method with which you can go ahead. And this is what he is explaining. These are the worst enemies and the worst enemies of homeopathy. Against this, if we are to succeed in our work, there must be a constant welfare within ourselves until they are conquered by establishment of correct methods and practice and genuine interest in the work is used. See, very nicely he has explained. If you want to really achieve success, then there is no excuse. This is the thing I am telling also to you, being a practicing since last 30 to 33 years. Till today also I am working with the same efficiency as I used to work 32 years back. Today also my day starts at 4:45 and ends at 10:30. Today also at the age of 55, I'm doing the same type of work. I used to take one lecture in college 8 to 9, 9 to 5:30 OPD. After that, two lectures. This is the whole schedule. But because of that, whatever the success I have achieved, it is the result of that very hard work done. This is how a work gets evolved. Then automatically it spreads. Daily I am seeing some difficult cases, and why those difficult cases comes to us? Only reason I'm doing that much of work, reading again and again, reading from different books for the purpose of teaching. I have to read it again and again, and every time I'm getting something when I read it again. Whenever I used to take the Materia Medica lectures in the evening, I used to read the Materia Medica from different books. Whenever time permits, I used to read it from Murphy, I used to read it from Vittelpus, I used to read it from Synoptic Key, I used to read it from Alan Boric, even sometimes Kent's Materia Medica. Without that, it never happens. Then you automatically your mind starts evolving. So shortcuts will not going to give you the success. What he says, they are conquered by establishment of correct methods and practice. This is one important thing I want to highlight. Correct method is important. It is not fixed. My suggestion to all of you, all the students, is that you should not get fixed with one method. You should mold according to the situation, and you must know all of them. You must know the keynote prescribing. You must know the constitutional prescribing. You must know the temperamental prescribing. You must know the mind methods of prescribing. You must know the finding it out the singular keynote characteristics of the cases. You must know the miasmatic prescribing. All methods which you have to grab first, develop in your mind, and develop your own method which is dependent upon the case, not a fixed method. It should vary from individual to individual. And if this happens, then definitely you are going to get a success. Some patients you will not going to get more than pathology. Then your approach should be different. In some cases, you will going to get, instead of pathology, you will going to get more functional symptoms along with pathology. So your approach should be different over there. And this is what he's explaining, that your own method should be evolved. No man who is in the grip of settled doubt and prejudice can do good work. What he's saying, no man who is in the grip of settled doubt or prejudice can do good work. So it is not possible. If he is prejudiced, if he's um, if he is doubtful, he will not going to do a good work. The commercial salesman of today, for example, is not regarded as competent, not in the proper frame of mind to gain success until he is able to sell himself as it experts put it. What he is saying, very perfect word he is telling, that if you are a salesman, then you should be a, if you want to become a good salesman, you should be able to sell yourself at a very good price. Then you are really a salesman. In the similar manner, if you want to go for a homeopathy and homeopathic practitioner, a successful homeopathic practitioner, then everything, whatever knowledge you are going to get, gather it, develop it, evolve it, and apply it. It is a big task. It is not a simple method. You have to work and work. Very much hard work. You have to go for it. That means that he must acquire and hold a thorough belief in and conviction of usefulness, indispensability, and value of goods he has to sell. So those qualities for the salesmen which are there, in the similar manner, they are useful for homeopathy. For him, it means study, it means effort, it means personal self-discipline until he develops a genuine enthusiasm for his goods, his house, and his work. So it is all those qualities should be there with the homeopath. which are responsible for the salesman also. And that only gives you and guides you toward the right remedy. It means confidence in himself and in his goods. And that is the big quality one should acquire. That he should have a good confidence with himself as well as in his work. And then whatever is needed, whatever is you have to utilize, that will be utilized in a proper manner. So many things Close has tried to explain over there with his own words regarding the examination of the patient, the practical part of philosophy. We'll meet on Monday with the next part of it. Tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday holidays. We'll meet again on Monday with the next paragraph. And today evening, we're going to learn a short remedy, but very useful in our clinical practice, the Calcarea arsenicosum. And that we're going to learn in today at 8 o'clock. So thank you being there. We'll meet again at night. If any query is there, anything, question, we'll have a chat. Otherwise, we'll continue. So,
Excuse me, sir.
yes,
Sorry, Murugan. Shall I call you after completing this mission?
yeah, sure.
Because my wife is suffering.
Sure. We'll talk.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Very kind of.
Okay. So good evening and meet at 8 o'clock. Thanks.